If you have ever tried to bulk with a busy schedule, you already know how it goes. You might start the week off strong, but somehow throughout the week, you've either missed a workout, eaten anything you want, and somehow your weight either doesn't budge at all, or you've gained too much fat and now you feel bad about yourself. And then you might even think to yourself, bulking is so much harder than losing weight. I just don't have the time to do it right. Allow me to address this. It's not that you don't have the time, it's just that everything that you've seen online when it comes to bulking is fit for people who have the luxury of time to do all these things. Whether it's meal prepping, hitting the gym 5-6 times a week for 3 hours a session, or recovering like you don't have work the next day. The thing is, that's not you though. You've got travel plans, you've got a family, you've got kids to take care of, you've got client dinners, work dinners. Your entire life does not revolve around the gym. So you have to approach bulking differently. So how do we do it then? First, we have to understand how muscle is built. Muscle growth only occurs when you repeatedly expose it to high quality mechanical tension. Then you have to recover and feed it the right nutrients so it can grow. Mechanical tension is the core driver of what we know as muscle hypertrophy or muscle growth, and it happens through something called mechanotransduction pathways. The problem is, on the training side, when you're a busy professional like yourself, if you're short on time, you actually need to lift heavier in the gym because lifting heavier recruits more muscle fibers, which translates to more muscle growth. Whereas lighter loads can also translate to muscle growth, but you need to spend a longer time in the gym, which is something that you don't have. So in this video, I'm gonna show you my complete no-time bulk system. It's gonna show you how to set up a bulk that doesn't make you fat, how to hit your protein intake without trying to eat 6 meals a day, and the exact training structure that busy professionals like yourself should follow without burning out. Now, before we dive into the solution, let's actually review the things you have been trying. Maybe you've tried to do the clean bulk, but because you're not actually tracking your calories, half the time you're not actually eating enough and you're just not making any progress. Maybe you've tried the good old dirty bulk, right? You eat whatever you want in sight. You end up just gaining a lot more fat than you should have been. You hate yourself, so what you end up doing, just like I did, go on a cut again to be lean, and you just restart the vicious cycle. Or maybe you've been trying something that's been a lot more popular recently, known as main gaining, where you pretty much eat at maintenance calories. Problem is that bulk is way too slow. So you barely see any progress, you lose the drive, and you don't even stick to it. Now, why do these approaches fail for busy professionals? Number one, if you're eating inconsistently in a surplus, you're gonna get inconsistent results. You can't just expect to eat a couple days in a week well, and then the remaining days you're just eating however you please, and expect to see the number on the scale increase the way it's supposed to. Secondly, dirty bulking has been proven by many studies to be not the most efficient way to put on just pure lean muscle mass. You're gonna end up putting on a lot more fat than you initially desired. And many studies have shown that eating in a larger surplus compared to eating in just a smaller surplus resulted in actually the same amount of muscle mass gained. But the people who ate in a much larger surplus clearly gained a lot more fat, which if you think about it, at the end of your bulk, you're then gonna have to do a really long cut just to burn off all those extra fat that you had gained unnecessarily. Thirdly, and I mentioned this earlier, the main gaining approach is just far too slow. And it oftentimes makes you feel like nothing is happening at all, which kills your drive and your momentum. Now at this point, you might be thinking, well, it's my age, I'm way too old for this, or it's my metabolism, I'm over 40, or maybe it's the injuries I have, or I just don't have the time. But here's actually the thing you gotta remember. Most people who can't gain the weight is not because you're a hard gainer like you've been led to believe, but actually because number one, you're just not tracking your calories and you're not aware of how many calories you're consuming. And number two, you're not recovering properly. So what's the unique solution? Again, the no time bulk system. All we want to do is add micro amounts of tension, review your progress, and eat enough. That's basically the whole thing. So let's break it down into steps. Number one, let's actually just focus on eating enough. You obviously need to be in a small caloric surplus. Think just about 250 to 400 calories more than your maintenance. Now, what you're gonna wanna do is you're actually gonna wanna track your calories. And I say this not because I require you to track your calories every single day for the rest of your life, but you need to have a baseline understanding of what you're consuming in a day and whether or not that's actually pushing you closer to your goal or moving you further away from your goal. Once you have established the calories that you are consuming, whether it's from meal prep or from eating outside, you will make a mental note and understand the numbers you're putting inside your body. And once you're familiar with these numbers, you don't have to track as often anymore, or maybe not track anymore altogether. Now, what you also want to do is make sure that you're noting down your weight every single day, tracking it every single day, and not judging your progress based off the daily fluctuations in your weight, but rather the weekly changes. What you're trying to measure is how much your weight changes on a week-to-week basis. And it should really only change by about 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight per month. So let's quickly do the math. If you're 80 kilos and you want to gain pure lean muscle mass, the upper end of the range that you should be gaining should just be about 800 grams a month, which means that over a 6-month time period, you should really only be gaining about 4.8 kilograms. Now that seems far too little compared to what you thought you would be able to gain, but again, we're not here to just gain weight on the scale. We're here to gain pure lean muscle mass as much as possible. Now, if you track your weight on a weekly and monthly basis and you realize that your weight is actually moving up way quicker than it should, aka it's increasing by more than 800 grams for that month, then what you want to do is reduce your calories by about 100 to 150 calories and then go from there. Now, it's worth noting that any diet or nutrition plan that you stick to, do it for at least 2 weeks. Give it some time to work, because if you don't give it enough time and you keep making changes every 3 to 5 days, you're not actually going to know if it is working or if it isn't working. When it comes to your macros, the most important macro that you're going to focus on is obviously protein. Now, you don't need a lot of protein compared to if you were on a cut. You just need to consume about 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight on a daily basis. Now, how I like to coach my clients to consume this much protein is to just make it simple. 50 grams of protein during lunch, which is about 2 pound size serving of lean protein. You're gonna repeat that for dinner. And so within the day, you've already consumed 100 grams of protein, and then have about 2 to 3 scoops of a protein shake as a snack or in the morning. That way, you would easily consume 150 to 175 grams of protein, which is way more than enough protein you actually need to be consuming anyway. Most of your focus should actually be on your carbohydrates. A lot of people are really focused on hitting more and more protein during a bulk, but actually, the focus should be on your carbohydrates, because the carbs are what fuels your workouts. And because you're in a surplus, you're gonna have to push hard in order to gain muscle. And so if you don't consume enough carbohydrates, you're gonna feel depleted, you're gonna have a lack of energy, and it's not gonna make you feel good. So eat more carbs. Now let's talk about adding micro tension. Now what does that mean? Earlier, we talked about how tension was the main driver of muscle growth, but we don't wanna just bump our tension up so high every single session, aka do a lot of sets, because that's gonna burn you out. It's not going to be super effective for you because you don't have the time and you don't even have the focus to execute all sets well. So what we want to do is really simple. You're just going to execute full body sessions about 4 to 5 times a week. Enough with the Arnold splits, enough with the bro splits, no more chest on Mondays, back on Tuesdays. No, we want to be able to hit every single body part per session multiple times a week, and here's why. If you're doing a traditional bro split where you do chest on Mondays, back on Tuesdays, what happens is that when you miss a session, you completely ignore and forgo an entire group of muscles, which means that you're gonna lack growing the entire group completely. Now, obviously, this isn't to your advantage. So we want to make it such that even if you miss a session, you would still have worked on every single muscle group. And that's why full body splits are superior. Now, why do we want to do them 4 to 5 times a week? That's because we don't want to actually make you push super hard per session for really long. You really only have to do a 30-minute session. 2 sets per muscle group per session. And the way we're going to make this super quick is by utilizing supersets and myoreps. Now, supersets are basically where you just pair a bunch of sets together and you do them back to back before you actually rest. And studies have consistently shown that antagonistic supersets, aka where you pair opposing muscle groups like your chest and your back or your biceps and triceps, actually save you a lot of time and don't actually decrease the efficiency of your workout or how much muscle you would gain. So that's exactly what you're gonna do. 2 sets of chest with 2 sets of back, superset. Then you move on to 2 sets of biceps, superset with 2 sets of tricep. And then you move on to 2 sets of side shoulders, superset with 2 sets of back shoulders, for example. You can move them any which way you want to, but doing so will allow you to hit all muscle groups really efficiently, really well, without spending all your time in the gym. However, you're not just gonna stick to 2 sets every session, every week for the rest of your life, right? You actually have to increase your sets as you go along and as you improve. So the way adding micro tension helps is that if on the day itself, you do feel like you can do more, then add an extra superset. And if you don't, then it's okay. Stick to the baseline 2 sets per muscle group. Now, what about myoreps? How do those come in handy? Myoreps are amazing for hypertrophy because they keep your muscles near failure, increase the time under tension that those muscles spend, resulting in high quality growth. A study did find that myoreps resulted in modest hypertrophy advantages compared to other advanced methods like drop sets. So that's it. That's all you have to do to properly bulk, even if you don't have the time to do it right. You might also be thinking to yourself, well, my job is way too stressful for me to recover from. Well, that's exactly why your sessions are not 1 hour, 2 hours long. It's only 30, 45 minutes so that you can get in and out of the gym, go to bed early, get more sleep, and you'll be fine. You might also be thinking to yourself, well, I've tried the whole bulking method before and really I just got fat. Well, let me ask you, did you actually track your calories correctly? Did you do it for minimally 2 weeks at a time, tracking your weekly averages and seeing if it actually increased the rate it was supposed to? If the answer is no, then you didn't do it right the last time. But I promise you, if you do it the way I just told you to, you will actually see meaningful gains. Oh, but what if I have to eat 6 times a day? You don't have to eat 6 times a day. There's a very easy way to clock in calories, like liquid calories. Just have a bit of honey, a boost, a fruit juice, some shakes. You'll be fine. You don't have to eat that many times in a day. 3 to 4 meals is plenty. So again, here's the full no time bulk system in a few steps. Microdose tension, making sure you do full body workouts multiple times a week. 2 sets per muscle group per session using supersets and myoreps. Feel free to auto-regulate your volume or your sets. If you feel good on a day, add an extra set. If you don't, stick to 2. Very easy to do. When it comes to macros and calories, making sure you hit at least 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. Easy way to do so, 50 grams at lunch, 50 grams at dinner, and 2 to 3 scoops of a protein shake throughout the day if you need to. You only want to be consuming anywhere between 250 to 400 calories above your maintenance calories, making sure that you adjust it by about 100 to 150 calories above or below, depending on how much your weight increases on a week-to-week basis. But if any of the things I've just mentioned seem pretty difficult for you to analyze and execute on your own, then what I invite you to do is to just go ahead, click in the description box below, find that link and book in a call with me. Because what I help you to do is we'll take a deeper dive into your training history, your struggles, your goals, and whatever you need to do in order to get to the new 2.0 elevated version of yourself. The person that can bulk efficiently without gaining fat, without spending all his time in the gym or in the kitchen, so that you don't have to do any more thinking and you can just do it. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to drop a like, a subscribe, share it with a friend who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!